So our farmhouse here is a German style house. It is called Flurkockenhaus, which means central flue. And if you can see, the chimney on our farmhouse is right in the center, and it has three fireplaces that open off of the same chimney. And that's a very efficient way of heating a house, unlike having the fireplace on the end of a room where you lose lots of heat outside of the chimney. And our kitchen is the smaller part of our structure over here, and it would have been built as a one-room log cabin, and our family would have lived there for a couple of years while they cleared land for crops and got themselves established. Then they would have built the two-story part of the house and moved into it. Our barn is also a German style barn. It's called a bank barn, and the barn is built on the embankment, and that's again a very efficient way of keeping the animals warm in the winter and cool in the summer, because the back side of the barn is sort of like a cave, and it stays nice and cool in the summer yet warm in the winter time. Welcome to our 1800s farmhouse kitchen. Today I'm going to be making some vegetable soup. I have water heating in the fire to wash up the dishes with later. I'm going to start out by cutting vegetables. I've got some carrots here, and we're making a vegetable soup that has carrots and celery and onions and garlic and cabbage. People hundreds of years ago would have been eating a lot of root vegetables from their garden, because root vegetables store very well. They would not have been eating a lot of things like tomatoes, fresh cucumbers. They would have perhaps not been eating. They would have pickled cucumbers. A German American family would have been eating lots of cabbage in the form of sauerkraut or coleslaw, or just fried with onions in a skillet. They would have eaten lots of beets and turnips. Garlic up here that we grew in our garden. Alright, so I'm going to give you a tour of our small kitchen here. We have hanging from the ceiling the Walmart bag of the day, which are baskets. We also have barrels down here that were used for storage. The baskets were used to carry things anytime you wanted to go, from point A to point B, and carrying vegetables or laundry or anything like that. Just anything you needed to move around, you would put in baskets. Barrels were used for storage, and we've got dish pans and cooking vessels back there. We've got brooms and mops. And then over here we've got our canisters. We've got flour and sugar and that sort of thing in our canisters. Also dried beans and lard would be stored in clay pot canisters. In our cabinet right here we've got storage for our dish pans and our silverware. and sharp knives and stirring utensils. And hanging up here we've got hot lifters and little tongs for hot coals. Our bellows for the fire, gourd dippers here for dipping water and soup, and anything you needed to dip. We've got our small churn here. We've got a toaster. And then on the pewter shelf, we've got all kinds of other things that are used in the kitchen, spices, pots and pans and pitchers and funnels, anything like that is stored over here. All right, I've got soup cooking in the fireplace and I need to stir the soup, so I'm going to pull it out. It is suspended over the fire on something called a crane. The crane just keeps it up off of the, away from the fire. I'm using my pot lifter to lift it down onto the floor, the hearth. And take the lid off. And my soup is smelling really good. And I will put it back into the fire. And continue heating. So I'm going to make tea for a nice warm beverage this morning. People long ago, 200 years ago, didn't drink as much coffee as people do today, but they drank more tea. And this is a tea brick. This is how tea came from China. At the Boston Tea Party, at the beginning of the American Revolution, this is the type tea that was dumped overboard into the harbor. So I'll take my table knife. This is not a sharp knife, it's just a table knife. Until you have a nice little amount of tea there. I'll try to get a little more. Now we put this tea into the teapot. Grab a spoon. I think I actually need a little more. Now I'm going to fill my kettle up with hot water. Using my gourd dipper. While I wait for my tea to steep, I'm going to prepare some sugar to put in my tea. I have here a sugar cone, and these are called sugar nippers, and I'm going to nip off pieces of sugar. And that sugar will then be ground with a mortar and pestle. To make it more powdered. People long ago didn't have as much of a sweet tooth as what we have today. We're accustomed to having a lot more sugar added to our food. All right, I'm going to put that in my cup. And the tea should be ready, so I'm going to pour. First, let's put this away. And I'm going to pour tea into my cup. Now I'm taking my morning tea break. Today I'm working on hemming some dishcloth. Sewing was something that women would have spent a lot of time doing 200 years ago. The sewing machine had not been invented yet, so all the clothing and sheets and dish towels, everything was made by hand, and it was very time consuming. So now I'm washing dishes with our last soap and dishcloth. The water for washing dishes and every household chore would have to be carried from the spring. Rinse them in the other water container. Our soup is ready to serve. I'm going to dip some out into the bowl. All right, I'm going to now give you a tour of the 1800s farmhouse. So come on into the parlor. This room would be used like a dining room. It was called the parlor, but 200 years ago people didn't have upholstered furniture. Only the very wealthy would have had couches and upholstered chairs. And so chairs such as this would be the most comfortable seat in the house. We also have here our desk, which is where the farm family would have been taking care of the farm accounts and also doing schoolwork. They could have used this desk and also the table. The dishes are stored here for eating. Spoons in the spoon rack, plates on the plate racks. Okay. So then over this way is our bedroom, the parents' bedroom. There is also a cradle there for the baby. So here by our fireplace we have a candle box. Candles long ago were made from beeswax or from beef tallow, and mice like to chew on those, so the candles would have to be stored in such a way that the mice could not get to them, which is why they're in a hot box high up on the wall. And we have our fireplace here, which could be used for cooking, but mostly was used for heating since there's a kitchen that the cooking is done in. This is our pocketbook or wallet. We have here some money. These are Continental dollars. This one had change taken out of it. Going in next is the front hall. So follow me this way. This room would be used as a company room. If guests came, they would sleep in the bed here. We also have underneath the bed a chamber pot, which was the toilet. And clothing. And we also have sort of like a linen closet here with fabric and blankets.
Hey, welcome to the Blue Ridge Institute Museum, and today I'll show you a little introductory of how to blacksmith. Today we'll be making an S-hook. The first step is to make sure that the fire is burning at a hot enough temperature to bend the steel. Secondly, you want to hammer the ends of the steel to bring it to a point. When working with fire and hot metals, make sure you wear the appropriate clothing to prevent from serious injuries. It is best to leave the steel in there until it's a bright red color to ensure that it will bend easy. After bringing it to a point, try to straighten out the rest of the rod. Now it's time to curve the end. Now it's time to bend the other end of the steel rod. And that's it. That is how you make an S-hook.
Alrighty.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Come visit the Farm Museum soon.
Alright, now I'm going to talk to you a little about our 1800s livestock. First, we're going to see the sheep, and I have some sheep feed in my bucket. Sheep. Our sheep are called Tunis sheep, and they are a very old breed of sheep that have been around for a long time. Sheep. The Tunis sheep is a multi-purpose sheep. It means the lambs grow to market weight quickly, and that the wool is good for hand spinning. Our sheep have just recently had their yearly shearing, where the wool is all taken off, and it helps them stay cooler for the hot summer months, and also that wool can then be used for spinning. Alright, these are our Dominecker chickens. The Dominecker chicken is a good all-purpose chicken. They grow fast and lay eggs young, and they lay eggs well all winter, and they're a good meaty chicken for eating. Our chickens are pretty old. They're getting up there in years. Alright, this is our team of oxen. Oxen were used historically for all the kinds of things that you think of horses doing, pulling a wagon, pulling a plow. Horses are much faster than oxen, but oxen are much more steady, less prone to being frightened and running away, and also when their working life is over, you can eat them because they're basically just big cattle. Our oxen are American milking shorthorns, and their names are Jake nearest me and JJ on the other side. And I'm going to do a little demonstration of how oxen work. So I'm sure you've noticed that the clothes I'm wearing are a little different than what people wear today. My outfit is modeled after things that women of German descent would have been wearing in the year 1800. I have a full skirt with a drawstring waistband that enabled the skirt to be worn when a woman was pregnant, and then pulled up tight when she was not pregnant. And women had lots of children back then, so they were pregnant a lot and then not pregnant and pregnant again. My blouse is called a short gown, and it opens in the front. There again, that's for breastfeeding babies. And the kerchief goes around the top for modesty. The kerchief is a very practical thing. It could be soaked in water to be worn when it was very hot outside. It could be tied up snug in the winter to keep your neck warmer, and tied more loosely in the summer when it was warm. I have a sun hat to keep the sun off my face. I also have a cloth bonnet, which was to help keep the hair clean. I have an apron, which was used for many different things. You wipe sweat with the apron, you wipe your child's tears, you use it as a pouch to put garden vegetables in. I also have a pocket that could be used for keeping any kind of small items that were needed. In my pocket today I have a pocket knife, and I also have a tin of lip balm. So I hope you have enjoyed your tour of the Blue Ridge Institute and Farm Museum today, and hope you will come and visit us soon. Thank you.